Amelia and Ambrose, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to speak to you today about all the ins and outs of your life.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, particularly because Amelia, you've been a bit less online because you're doing your book. Tell me how it's all going.
Doing my book and being a mum to 4 kids now. I have been busy writing every day from when I get up until I go to bed, and in between the baby waking and feeding the baby and the kids pickups, drop-offs. Yeah, all about the 4th trimester. So I'm writing as I'm in the thick of it.
Oh my goodness, I literally do not know how you do it. Like literally you guys are, literally on another level. I want to hear about, firstly, let's talk about the baby, because baby Scout, how was it? How was the birth in sort of an executive summary, and how are you now?
He had a really hard time pushing her out.
You got a holiday in prior, so it was a good result straight after like a big year. So nice. And it was booked in. So we think pretty much went away to the 2nd of January, then it was booked in on the 3rd.
Literally.
So it was an action-packed kind of thing.
He was trying to push the baby out and out, and my ob's like, no, we have to have this baby.
It was actually going on holidays. So even that's serious.
No, so we had Scout on the 3rd of Jan after a really busy lead up to that, and it just hasn't stopped since.
Yeah, Mike.
That's all we ever know, isn't it? It's being busy.
Yeah. Do you feel, can you feel that extra layer of juggle with now having number 4? Has it hit you yet? Or
not really yet. I know it's coming, like the adrenaline's wearing off, and I'm tired with obviously what's going on with the book and just running a life. But Ambrose, we've got a really good setup here, so we bounce well off each other. I think we've got it down pat now.
Yeah.
And having him around, reading from him, it's amazing.
They don't do much in the first 6 weeks, really. And after 6 weeks, they kind of a bit more to
give you a bit more, do they?
Yeah.
So he doesn't do anything. He does nothing right now, and I feed the baby, change the baby, and I put it to sleep. Yeah, no. But he helps with the older kids. What else?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Like, I think it's amazing, and again, hat goes off to every single parent out there, because I'm just kind of like, how do you do it? Like, it really is. You want all hands on deck, and if you don't have that tribe, whatever that looks like, it can be really, really challenging. Even from your audience, have you noticed, feedback from people sort of really struggling in the early days?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially while I was researching and writing this book, it's very obvious that how people feel so lonely and unsupported during this period. And I guess Ambrose and I both from really big families. That's why we've had a lot of kids ourselves. Yeah. We have the support, which we know is not the same for everybody. So we're very fortunate, and have wonderful friends, staff members.
Yeah.
And we've worked quite hard to get to this point where we can have this flexibility to be here for our kids.
Yeah. How does one grow such a big audience? I've got a bit rogue here, but I'm just curious. Like, your audience is huge. How did you grow it?
Well, I feel like it's not that big. I think look, there's people that have 500,000 or, a million followers. I definitely don't have that, but what I do have is a very engaged audience, and I've got a very loyal following. So I'm very lucky because of that. But it's been since Alfie was born, 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's just literally posting about our everyday life.
I think it was started with with a strategy. We aren't kind of organised enough to start with a strategy of like, let's do this.
Yeah.
But it started with good intentions, and she's genuinely wanted to talk about what she talks about.
Yeah, people
like helping and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I guess I'm just very honest, probably too honest, and probably a lot of people don't like that, but I don't sugarcoat anything. And, people will often say to me, does Ambrose care that you posted that? I'm like, no. And I would always ask, you're always like, yes, it's fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's our life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you guys, you've been together for what, 20 years?
Yeah, about that. I think it's 19 or 20 years.
Oh my gosh, like that.
Maybe 8. No, it was like
it's
26, so
it was 18
maybe 8
last year.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're nearing the 2-0 mark. That is significant. Like, how are you not sick of each other?
He has a lot of boys with him.
A
lot.
I'm very tolerant.
Yeah.
Stop it. You are very lucky. You get away with murder. Well, yeah, he's a real boy's boy.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a very social person. I'm more of a introvert homebody, if you like. So, we butt heads in terms of he's like, hey, let's go and do this. And I'm like, let's just chill out and do this. So he's very social. He has his boys. And I think that's your footy club, your work.
Yeah.
We're kind of obviously not without kind of, it hasn't been smooth sailing by in sports.
And never is it? But I think it's, so commendable, with these long-term relationships. Like, I have so much respect because it's like you've ridden the waves together and here you still are. I think it's amazing. And what, over the last 20 years, the change that you would have experienced. I mean, for example, from where you were to now having multiple businesses and having, people that work with you and all, for your business, like huge change.
A lot of growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ambrose has had a really successful business for a long time. So I started first.
Okay.
I've kind of followed suit and we both just made it work. I was thinking the other night, first together, just how easy life is. You don't realise, without your kids. But you wouldn't change it, would you? Would you?
I remember having like a zombie business. They call it a zombie business, which it kind of just washes its face, stays alive, but it doesn't like make big money or anything like that. Yeah. And I think that the alternative of kind of being busy, waking up in the morning because you've got things to do where your alarm doesn't get you up, you've got kind of things on your mind. I'd prefer that by a mile over having a zombie business.
Yeah.
Like Ambrose is typically up at 5 a.m. Yeah. And he goes for a swim in the morning and then he's literally home by 7:30, 8 a.m. latest, and he's already had his exercise for the day, had his 3 coffees. He's up and about and we're just rising for the day.
Yeah. Wow.
2 different people, but we make it work.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And has, the impact of social media over the last 7 years, has that impacted, I guess, your dynamic? Because I often sit there and think, all right, you're at home and then you're there having to do a video, you want to do a video or whatever, and then that takes time, and then the kids are screaming, and then you got to go pick up someone, and then someone wants something, and you're just kind of like, so for me, I'm like, I can't even fathom how you fit it all in, but has it changed, or was it difficult?
It used to be really difficult.
Yeah.
As I was mentioned to you before we started, and I had really bad anxiety we had 2 under 2 after our second was born, and I was in the thick of starting my business, and we were really busy, and I just was doing way too much. But now, as the business has grown and so has my audience, it's become a lot more manageable. And obviously Ambrose and I work well together. So I think people also have this assumption that when you are on social media, you're filming all day.
Yeah.
But it's literally like a 90-second film,
Yeah.
It takes me 2 seconds now.
Yeah.
But it used to consume me, but I don't let it anymore.
Yeah. What about you, Ambrose? Do you find that sometimes you're like, dude, put the phone down? Like, do you ever have those moments?
Yeah. I'm happy to kind of stay off the phone.
Yeah.
So I'll leave that to Amelia.
Yeah, but
kind of gets me impromptually involved.
But no, there are times where he's like, babe, I need you to do this. I'm like, just let me finish filming this because I've got to do this story for this client, If I don't do this story, Ambrose, we don't have any cut. And he's like, all right.
Yeah, that's true. So you've been together for 20 years. Tell me, like, when you look back on that time, what was one of the most, silly arguments that you feel like you've had that was, is there anything that sort of comes to mind where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we used to care about that, or we used to have friction over that. Now we've kind of come on the other side of it.
Well, we've had over like 5 million arguments, at least 10 a day. What's one you can pick that's really... Oh, he'll say everything I argue over is silly.
Yes.
According to Amelia, it's always my fault.
A lot of it is your fault though, because and you understand. You understand.
So there's certain times when I probably am at fault, but I'll just stay busy trying to refuse to engage so she doesn't get a chance to do like dressing.
Yeah, usually. No, and, I'm the kind of person I will be like, just verbally like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And he'll be like, and then he'll do something to make me laugh. So I cannot stay angry. Okay. And he knows that. So I just got away with murder over the years. You're a turd.
So it sounds like from a personality perspective, are you a little bit more like me where I'm like fiery, I communicate exactly what I'm feeling?
Yeah, that's definitely me.
Yeah.
And, I don't call bullshit, whereas he can talk himself out of absolutely anything. Sorry, classic example, our fights are, you said you're going to be home at 7 o'clock and he'll come home at 9 o'clock. What's the big deal? It's a very big deal. To you, it's not.
Not really.
Yeah. Yeah, kids are to do best story. But yeah, no, I don't know. We've had many fights over the years, but probably 90% of them are stupid.
Yes, more than likely. But
have you ever sort of, hit like a speed bump in the road? For example, for me, when I had I had prenatal depression, then I had postnatal depression, and then about 6 months after that, my relationship had been so rocky, and we didn't know how to get out of, to get our head above water, and so we went and saw us a therapist for 3 sessions, and she kind of gave us some tools to be able to then better ourselves. Have you come across any roadblocks?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think where Coco was born.
No,
Essie was born, and I was like busy with work, and then I was involved with the footy team. So I'd like rush home, get home at 5, then I got to go to footy train at 6. It was like Tuesday, Thursday, all day Saturday. It was like she hated my absolute guts at that time.
It's a big commitment.
It wasn't like I wasn't doing anything kind of
Hold on.
like intentionally or
Now we tell my version, the mother female version.
good way. Anyway, if you want it, the moral of the story is if you want to get divorced, be assistant coach of a footy.
Okay, your side.
My side is we had 2 under 2. I fell pregnant when Alfie was 11 months old. Not intentional. Was probably for him. Then we had 2 under 2. I was totally not ready for that, and I was still breastfeeding, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I think that really started the train of anxiety. I'd started my business, and then it all just got too much. Literally, she was born, and he was never home. You know, he ran 2 very big businesses, and he was working 6 days a week. He only had Sundays off, and Sundays were spent hungover, probably after a weekend of the footy. No, look, he was good, but you know what? When you said you saw a therapist, I said, Ambrose, I am done. Like there is absolutely, I cannot do this ever again. Like I'm at breaking point. So we went and saw a relationship counsellor, which I was opposed to, but it was actually the best thing we'd ever done. And she literally laid out A, B, and C, said, Ambrose, this is her problem, this is your problem. Yeah. If you don't fix A, B, and C, and what she's asking isn't a lot, and he kind of was like, you're right, and then want to make this work. She was really our saving grace. Yeah. She was. She made you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I felt like a bit kind of ambushed, but anyway.
She was just basically just like, your kids are only little ones. You can choose the footy life.
No, it was good process.
It was good for you. And, you know, and all I wanted out of it was, can you just give me one night where you can be at home by 5:30 instead of 9 o'clock at night? Because he'd be training clients, you know, after hours and all that kind of stuff, and then footy training, and it was just, I was done.
How many sessions did you have to have? Do you remember how many?
I really did 2.
Yeah.
We didn't do that, didn't we? We did less than 5. Kind of penny dropped pretty quickly. Yeah. I remember she said, like, blah, 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 talking, asking the questions, and then she, like, goes, oh, do you love Amelia? And without thinking, it was yes. And I think that kind of, the penny dropped, well, then do this. And
she was she was very funny counselor. She's like, guys, it doesn't have to be this hard. Just get along. And I'm just like, you know what, you're right. Yeah. Just put things into perspective. And this is, I haven't actually told my audience that, but I've always wanted to speak about it. Yeah. But I just want to say to people, like, I feel like so many people would benefit from relationship counselling, even if you don't have major problems. Yes. It was just the absolute, she just fixed everything for us.
Yes.
And that fight, obviously. Yeah. Like every couple does. Yeah. But no. Yeah, she was amazing.
It's so important, isn't it? Just to have the toolkit to kind of reach out and go, or often you're not hearing each other. So like I know with my relationship, no one's listening. You're just going round in circles. You're arguing about the same thing over and over and over.
And then you hate each other.
And then you hate each other.
Comes up in your kids. And then the last thing you want to see is your kids fighting. Like if Ambrose and I bicker now, Essie's like, stop. Like it's really upset about that kind of stuff. And Elfie's like, what's going on?
Yeah. But they can tell. My little one as well, 5 years old, was like, stop arguing. You know, they can sense it. So it's like for those listening, if you're kind of sitting there going, oh, okay, maybe we're not in the best place, or actually there could be some growth that we can, you know, everyone, as you said, can benefit from a third-party guidance if and when you feel it's right. It's not just for you, it's for your relationship, but it's for your family, you know.
And I also
think, bit of an unbiased voice.
Yeah, that's right. And I think also throwing away the mentality of, well, my husband works all day, he doesn't have to help when he gets home, and that's what a lot of men think, or women, you know. I have women say to me, oh, Ambrose is so helpful, you're so lucky, my partner gets home and does nothing. And I'm like, no. We've come a long way to get this far. He is so helpful, but we did have help to get there.
What, if you think back to that time now, are there any sort of key tips that maybe you can tell those listening if they are in the whole, I'm in Resentment-ville, my partner's never home, what do I do about it?
You can come out of it. Like I was really at a point when I was like, I'd so checked out of our relationship. I was like, I'm actually happy to just be a single mum, because I was with how much he was working. And then obviously he loved being a dad so much, and he was a very good dad. He just wasn't a great partner at the time. but we'll work through it. So I just think, don't wait. Why would you wait? Like, it doesn't have to be this hard. And I always say, especially those with, P&D and anxiety, it doesn't have to be an awful experience. It feels like, you know what it's like when you're in that hole, you feel like, I'm never going to enjoy this or get out of this, but you can with the right help.
Yeah. I think there's also an understanding it is a team game. So someone's got to earn the money or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So you can come home early, but those bills won't pay themselves. So obviously
it's a bit negotiable,
be aware
really, isn't it?
of that as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like a get kind of individual attack or something. It's kind of like a focus on the bigger picture, more commonly than not.
Yeah,
100% agree. And I think my biggest thing was I wanted 50-50 parenting. I wanted equality. I wanted all the things. But the reality is I have more flexibility in my work. My husband earns more than me. Like, there's so many other factors. And I'm like, I'm not,
you are the mum, which doesn't mean you have to be the sole carer, but you actually by default are. Like, your baby just wants mum.
Yes.
And they need you. And unfortunately, we are the default parents. So emotionally, that falls on us more. And so we feel more drained. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. For those listening, particularly the dads listening who perhaps, or even the mums listening going, well, my partner wouldn't want to go to see an external party, a therapist, whatever. I'm curious your perspective, Ambrose, like, was there resistance, and what would you say to those people?
I think it's a bit of it. Like, you do have to put your ego in the back pocket, obviously, and then just depends on how committed you are to try and kind of get some resolution in. But there's no, I think this day and age, you're like, asking for help is like not like a sign of weakness or anything like that. It's pretty much, you got to use any kind of resource to get like the result you want, which is to stay together. Okay, what do we got to do? This. Looking, reverse engineering what the end kind of goal is.
Also, Ambrose is also very good at vocalising. He's always very good at talking. He's a talker, likes to talk things out. And he's very good at self-care. So I think, you've always been good at self-care. And that's not in a selfish way. I think looking after yourself, filling up your cup is significant as well. Like, I was always more than happy for Ambrose to go to the footy club because I love that culture too. We grew up with that, and it's so good for him.
Yeah.
As long as it's just not a constant thing and you get a break as well.
Yeah, because how do you fit in your breaks, girl? Like,
with Ambrose's help, with my sister's help, my friends, I've got childcare, the older two are at school now. It's so much easier. I don't really I don't really need a lot of me time. I just, all I really want all week is just like maybe an hour or two just to go get a massage. Even just going to the shops by yourself, like running in to do a food shop. He's like, just take the kids. I'm like, no, it is so draining to take the kids just to get in and out of the car. Like, just go spend an hour by yourself. And I talk about this in my book, just little things like that we as mums, we dread, we take for granted is actually quite therapeutic when you're by yourself.
Oh, yeah, I can totally agree with that. How do you then find time for each other? Like, do you set up date nights? Do you not? Do you?
Well, that was one of the non-negotiables with the relationship counselors. Like, you actually have to, like, he's big on date night. I'm kind of like, can we just, he's good at making time. We probably need to do that more often.
Yeah, we're more conscious of, spending time together.
Yeah.
It has been hard lately, but you do spend a fair bit of time down over summer. So,
you go.
Like, if you just focus on, like, the kind of activities of life, you can easily become just
roommates.
Yeah.
And then
we always say that here.
An articulate friend of mine, very wise, said, you got to be having sex, otherwise you just become, like,
roommates.
That's like, drop the mic. It's so true, isn't it? Right? Like,
yes. And she went through sex being such a big part of a relationship, whether people agree or not. Like, scientifically, it's been proven it is. And she explained, how the men from women from Mars theory, all that kind of stuff. So things, sex obviously, and we do need to make more date nights for ourselves, absolutely, but we're in the thick of on stage. Totally. Who can be bothered for that? But even, she said things like, just you and Ambrose just putting in Netflix when the kids go to bed. And it's just really just, even if you just sit in each other's company, you don't have conversation, it is time together.
Like after breakfast.
Yeah, we do.
You just make it work with the time that you've got.
Opportunity.
And so how have you kept the spark alive, through it's so much easier without kids. So let's talk about after you had kids. How do you keep the spark alive? Or does it kind of blow out and then come back again? Like, what's it been like?
Definitely not consistent, is it?
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
Ebbs and flows. But I think, there's definite, like, personally, I feel Millie's like my good luck charm a bit. So yeah, I like.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I'm committed long term in that.
Yeah. And I guess, sex, which is what people do.
Yeah. But did you ever
Ask about the title on the platform, which is so surprising, as if I'm a sex therapist. I am far from that. Ambrose probably wishes. I don't know. I just think men need sex. That's true.
Yeah. So what are you hearing then? Because I mean, from what are people saying, look, I don't feel like it and my husband does, or I don't,
Actually, a lot of rejection from the partner, which breaks my heart, and it's more common than we realise. Like when Ambrose is very affectionate and I put him on my stories and everyone's like, I wish my partner was like Ambrose. I'm like, we're not like this all the time. It's just 20 seconds on a thing. But, they're like, I just don't know. And I'm like, go see a counsellor. Go do this, go do that. Sometimes I hate Ambrose and I don't want to talk to you. It's not always as lovely.
Yeah.
It's, constantly working through it.
It can't take effort.
Yeah, that's so amazing to me as well, because I've spoken to a lot of couples over the period of this podcast, and a lot of the time it is stereotypically the dad in the relationship is the one that's like, well, hold on, I know we've just had a baby, but like I am over here and please don't forget about me sort of thing. There's a little bit of that, which is just, I think, human nature, right? Because there's so many competing priorities for the birth mum, particularly in the earlier stages. And so that can be typically in the first year just a really rocky time for a relationship, and sex might not even be on the table for a lot of people. And then
rightly so, because
who can be bothered? I've just pushed out a baby, like leave me alone.
Yep.
But then what people then struggle with is like, but how do we then get it back? Like how do we get the affection back? And often I'll go to, well, if you both had the self-care time or just me time, whatever that looks like, walking down aisle 5 in Woolies, if that's what makes you chill, then go for it. Or football club, or just then you can kind of feel a bit more like sure and good about yourself, and then you've got a little bit more to give to your partner. What do you guys reckon? Yeah,
I don't know. Well, like what I said, Ambrose is very regimented in his daily routines, in his self-care. I've got to get better at that. It's hard at the moment, but you're right. Once you fill your cup up, and the therapist explained that to us, filling your cup up is essential to giving to others. So once you can do that, you do feel more time, and you've got more energy to do those, to do things together, not sex, just be together and do your date nights and get along, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Try to get out of that roomy, mentality. But and also I often say, if you, for those listening, if you are sort of stuck in that, I don't know how to get back into it, and everything, my partner's annoying me, it's so normal. We've all been there, but also so normal. It's a phase, and even if it, it's been a longer phase than you would like, I always just suggest, okay, well, maybe just start with the small elements of affection. So it might be as you walk past your partner in the kitchen, just putting your hand behind their back, or, going in for the kiss hello, the kiss goodbye, just the gestures to start chipping away at that, the icing.
And like when you can, like just book a night away together when you can, if you're not breastfeeding or you've got the assistance, just one night away. Yeah. And what I've learned, I was always hated leaving my kids, and it took ages for me to leave them overnight. It's actually so good for you, and it's actually even better for them.
Yeah.
It's so good for the kids.
Why do you say that?
It just is, because they get used to being with other people, and it's actually good for them to be loved by other people and spoiled and treated, and know that they're safe in other people's hands. Yeah. And then you don't realise, just even having that extra half an hour sleep in the morning, just having a conversation in bed or eating breakfast or something like that, uninterrupted, really, I don't know, I think it recharges the batteries.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Good for the soul.
Good for the soul. No.
We're way off that at the moment. Maybe, but we're in the thick of it again.
I've got a big question that I want to ask, but we'll pause for now. I'll ask it in a second.